YouTube, what's up? It's your guy CJ back with another video, back with another episode of the CJ Wilkins YouTube channel and also the Be a Man podcast affiliate. Today I want to have a conversation, guys, about the importance of being able to see the writing on the wall. All right, it's very vital. It is incredibly important for men to know how to see the writing on the wall. And this is one thing that if you could, the sooner that you can learn this practice and master it, the better your life will be. I know some of y'all watching this right now, man, and you like, man, CJ, what the hell you talking about, bro? Like, what do you mean, see the writing on the wall? There comes a time, if you are a thinking man, if you are a man of intelligence, a man who knows how to read the room and the environment that he's in, or the situation that he's in, there comes a time to where you and your thing gets off page. And I say thing because you can substitute this in a lot of different instances, right? When I say you have to know when the writing is on the wall, I could be talking about a job, a relationship, a marriage, a friendship, some like fruitless effort that you're putting a lot of time in and you're not really seeing a result, right? You have to know when something is over. Far too many men historically have been defeated due to not knowing when something was over. They didn't know when to let go, you know? There are people that I knew growing up who were in the world of, criminality and carnality, and they just held on to whatever they were doing illegally for far too long. They were up at one point. They had all the money at one point. They were actually winning at one point, even though they were doing something that was illegal. At one point in the game, they were winning, but they hung on too long, and they eventually got caught up. And whatever happened to them, happened to them. Whether that be incarceration, whether that be like, expiration, But it's so important. It's so important for a man. Men especially. I know y'all watching this, and this could be applicable to both men and women, but I'm speaking to the bros right now, right? And bro, I'm telling you, you have to, in life, you have to know when the writing is on the wall. You're going to save yourself a lot of time. You're going to save yourself a lot of stress. You're going to save yourself a lot of heartache. You're going to save yourself a lot of money. And you're just going to overall save yourself. It is uber important. If you don't listen to no other video I make, listen to me when I tell you one of the most important skills in your life that you will ever develop is the art of knowing when something is a wrap. Now, I'm not telling you guys to quit everything you got going on that's not going good right now, okay? I'm not telling you that. There's a difference. There's, it's nuance to this shit, You got you a good woman, you got you a good job, and you just having a bad week or a bad month even. Don't go filing them papers, bro. Ain't no need in, putting in a 2-week notice. But I'm talking about when you're in a scenario, man, to when your soul, your spirit is being just carved out of you every day. It's being sucked out of you. Your drive, your will, your spirit, your soul is just being decreased. And you can feel the levels of that God in you, that light in you, just slowly decreasing as a result. Slowly decreasing as a result of you being in that relationship, in that job, being in that friendship, or being in that business endeavor, whatever it is in life that you're going through or you're dealing with, and it is kind of making you a different version of yourself, right? But not a different version that's going to benefit you for the long term. It's making you a different you that is toxic, that is very short with people, that's rude, that's angry, that's condescending, that is very unbecoming of a man who's walking in his best light. When you're going through things like that, when you're in scenarios like that, when you're in situations like that, you have to know when to cut bait. And I'm going to tell y'all this too, man. I think I did an episode on this too. But, well, no, about this topic up in an episode, but I never did a full episode about this here that I'm talking about. And in all of those cases, I don't care if it's a job that, you feel like you're on your way out, and you don't know how much longer at this job you can take. You're in a relationship where you got to walk on eggshells and you can't really be your full authentic self, You're running around certain people who really force you to shrink who you are in order to make them feel good or better about themselves, even if it's family. Sometimes it's more intimate than that, You have to know when the writing for something is on the wall, bro. You absolutely have to know. And a lot of men are either naive and they think, or they always have this greenness to them to where they think they may be able to fix a dead situation. Or they may see it and they may just view so little of themselves or have such little confidence and self-esteem in who they are, they just kind of tolerate it. They just deal with it just because, some job is better than no job. Some woman is better than no woman. Even though they're being mistreated, neglected, ignored, unseen, undervalued, to not even valued at all, unappreciated. All those things that make you look at a scenario and say, why the hell am I here? Those things that really make you look around like, wait a minute, hold on. What the hell has happened to my life? Anytime you find yourself in that type of a scenario or like a situation, I want you to know that there was a point in time where there was a shift, right? Because it wasn't always that way. When you first got that job, you loved that job. You showed up early, not just on time. You showed up early. You got along with everybody for the most part. You were excited about the outings or the meetings y'all had at work. And then at some point, man, there was a shift. Your team started acting different towards you. Your boss started acting a little weird, like when they see you and stuff. And you get to a point where you feel like other people may know something you don't know. You know how it is for anyone who's been in corporate or has been like in that work world, man, where it's just sometimes like when it's getting ready to be a wrap and other people have found out, the whole energy like really changes. Like it gets really weird and you be like, man, why everybody acting different towards me? Like, you stop getting the emails, you don't get all the invites anymore. Now that's when if you're intelligent, you can peep the shift. And at that point, if you're intelligent, you have to address it. You have to call it out. People treating you different, people acting weird, strange on you. The energy just is not the same as it used to be. You first got in your marriage or your relationship and everything was all just rose colored glasses and it was the longest honeymoon phase ever. Now she giving you the silent treatment. Y'all having sex like once a month, even if that. Things that you have always done are now kind of more unbearable. She's not laughing at your jokes anymore. You ain't funny. You was Kevin Hart last year, but this year you just kind of like, The writing is on the wall, brother. So if you listening to this, and I know a lot of y'all are listening to this right now, and you may be seeing signs of this, man, and you may be kind of going through this right now. The writing is on the wall, brother. Some of y'all are, on your last leg at your job. You may know it, you may not know it. Some of y'all are on your last leg in your relationship or in your marriage or whatever, and you may not even know it, right? And I don't say this to discourage you or put you down or tell you that you shouldn't be trying to fight for what you believe in or like who you believe in, but I will tell you, man, you owe it to yourself to always operate in this world from a place of power. And the way you operate from a place of power is that you have to play chess. You have to try to put yourself to the best of your ability, because none of us are psychics, right? None of us know what's going to happen tomorrow or anything like that. Can't predict the winning lottery numbers or the weather a month from now. But you owe it to yourself, man, to when you see a change in patterns of behavior, of actions from other people, or situations that impact your life directly, you owe it to yourself to start making moves and start altering your thought process. So when the inevitable happens, you don't blow up and you don't, act crazy. And that's the point of this episode, and this is why I geared this towards men. You know what I'm saying? I've been seeing a lot of content, like in my algorithm as of late, about guys like just snapping, guys just going off in their marriages, or guys just snapping on their girl, They find out their woman was cheating, or they found out their old lady was messing around on them and stuff like that, And they just black out, man, and they just go crazy, bro. And for the life of me, bro, I cannot understand. For the life of me, this car in front of me was doing some weird, crazy shit on the tracks. But anyway, for the life of me, man, I don't get it, bro. Man, CJ, you walk in on your girl getting dug out from the back, bro. You ain't gonna black out and send somebody to their maker? No. First off, let me tell y'all this here, man. Unless you're just a complete idiot with no awareness or no discernment, bro, your woman don't just wake up one day and cheat on you, bro. She don't just wake up one day, go outside, and fall on somebody else's cucumber. It don't work like that. Not in this world, not in the next world, not in the previous world. It don't work like that, right? There was a course in a timeline that took place to where she slowly decreased certain things she used to do, and her actions and her behavior towards you changed in a way to where it's very possible that somebody else is now getting the energy romantically that you was once getting. So when I be hearing stories about these guys, man, just going crazy and throwing their life away, and these guys have kids, so you're so much of a simp that can't control their emotional response to life, and that's all it is. It's life, bro. This shit happens every day. It's life. Infidelity sucks. I think that we should live in a world to where people should be more honest and adults and say, hey, I'm not happy here. Let me leave or go do something else before I break your heart or disrespect you or whatever. I wish people operated like that, but that's not the world we live in, bro. We live in a world where people do what they want to do. And when people do what they want to do, you can't internalize that as, I'm just going to freak out and just respond emotionally out of anger. Because as a man, when you respond out of anger, the courts don't really have a lot of, empathy for you. The judge ain't gonna really be like, well, you were nice up until now, so we understand why you blacked out and everybody in the house is getting a tombstone this summer. That's not funny, but you gotta learn how to control your masculine frame. But more importantly, you guys gotta operate from a position of power. You have to know how to peep certain things certain things when they happen, when they change. The slightest alteration of a vibrational frequency, you got to be able to catch that, because it happens right in front of you. You know what I'm saying? And that's not saying that every time your woman changes up or withdraws for a certain period of time that she's cheating on you. Sometimes she may just be checked out of the relationship or the marriage, and she'll just be going like through the motions, because I know women who have told me, like, I'm not happy in my relationship, CJ, but I'm kind of just going through the motions or whatever. So they're kind of like, they're not quote unquote stepping out their marriage, right? But they're not connected to their husband. They're not connected to their boyfriend or to their fiance. The man that they're quote unquote attached to, they don't have, like, their signal is no longer connecting with that person, right? And when that signal is no longer connecting, you got two options, right? As a man, right? You got a woman right now. You may be watching this with your woman, or watching this while your woman looking at TV and shit. But if you with a woman right now, any man watching this, and your woman is not connected to you, she don't have a signal to you right now, you got to find a way to make sure that signal is reattachable. Sometimes it is, you know what I'm saying? But when it's detached to where it's like she has no want or desire to reattach that connection to you, you don't have a prayer. You don't have a chance, bro. And when you know for a fact that, hey, she has checked out all the way, there's nothing you can do, brother. It's not enough crying. It's not enough. You could play every R&B song that charted from 1994 to 1997 and bring the actual artist to perform the song to her, to explain to you how bad you want her, how much you don't want her to leave. Brother, when a woman is checked out and she's done, don't be that simp trying to manipulate her to come back, trying to beg her to come back, trying to plead her to come back. It's a wrap. But the whole point of this video is long before you get to that point. Long before you get to the point to where your woman is done, when your employer is done, when your friendships are like, the friendship is over. There were things that happened, that took place, that a lot of guys don't even pay attention to. That it goes right under their nose and they don't smell a thing. It was right there. And it's not funny in the sense of, well, like, I'm laughing at guys like that. But what's funny is how many guys this happens to and they don't even notice it. You know. It's just very important, man, to know how to peep the writing on the wall. There's a time, man, where things just go left. And when you see things go left, you have to check it and you have to correct it and fix it right then. You know? That's what I want you to get from this video, man. You know? When you listening to this episode, man, you going to the gym or going to the store or going to work or going, you know, like wherever you going, you know, just remember, whenever that situation went left the first time and you let it slide, you did yourself a disservice, because now that small issue that you let slide is going to grow into something bigger. And it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And before so long, you're going to find yourself overwhelmed, bro. You're going to be overwhelmed like a mug. You're going to realize very soon that, man, this thing is over with. And the crazy part about it is at one point you had a chance to not necessarily save it, because when it comes to relationships or jobs, those are outside of your control. Like a job could come to you and say, hey, our bottom line is affected, and if we get rid of you, it'll save us some overhead or some money. You're gone. There's nothing you can do. If a woman decides to wake up one day, especially for you married guys, you guys who signed a legally binding contract to be in a relationship with a woman that you're already with, you married guys, if your wife wakes up one day and decides, I don't want to do this anymore, she's signing a divorce, bro. If she wants to file for a divorce, there's nothing you can do. You can cry, beg, you can keep sweat in Spanish. It don't matter, bro. It's over. So please don't get from me, you need to try to change a person's mind. But what I'm saying is, when things first go left at a job or in a relationship or any situation that you care about, you do at least have the chance, ideally, to address the issue or to, call out the elephant in the room. And you may have a chance to reconcile some things. You may have a chance to extend your time. You may have a chance to, fix some things that, early on, to where, if she's thinking about, oh, this nigga lame as hell, man, or, your employer think, man, this nigga is really starting to be more, he's costing more than what he's producing, right? If you don't catch that first slight, that first change up, what's going to happen is over time, it's the compound effect. If you guys ever read the book, The Compound Effect, it talks about how you start with a small investment and then or you start with a small action, and over time it grows and becomes bigger and bigger, right? And that's what I'm talking about, bro. These actions that people completely miss, these behavior patterns that people just don't even catch, right? You got to catch it. You got to catch it right when it happens. It's like when you have like a leak in your house. Like, say you have like a leak, right? I do real estate, right? I'm a real estate investor out here in the Dallas area, right? Dallas, Texas, and Fort Worth area. And, I deal with a lot of houses, right? So I deal with a lot of inspections and making sure properties are good. I do my little, walkthroughs and whatnot, But when I go through with my inspectors and we see there's a leak that's in the ceiling, right? You have to fix that leak when it's small, ideally. When there's any issue, right? Any issue, I don't care if it's on your car, in a house, your relationship. Always fix issues when they're like this. Because if you don't fix the issue when it's small, it's just going to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like when you see people who got little small kids, little mama about 5, little man about 6, and you just see them talk back to their mother or to their father, and in the black community, we don't do that anyway. We don't do all that, let kids talk crazy to you and you put them in timeout. But when you see that and you see the parent don't do anything, there's no discipline, there's no course of correction, you be like, damn, they little and talking to them like that. Imagine when they turn 13, 14. Imagine when little man 6'2" and he's in middle school and he's a football player. Imagine how he gonna talk to you then. And now he gonna be so much bigger. Now he physically stronger than you. So That little like whooping you trying to give them, it ain't gonna work. If you don't discipline that child when they 4, 5, 3, well maybe not 3. 3 is like, no, they still a little bit. You know, school age, pre-K age. If you don't discipline that child when they're young, and you try to just all of a sudden jump out and change it up when they 14, 15, you're going to have a problem on your hands because you never disciplined them early on. You thought it was cute when they was 5 and when they was 4. Oh, look, they sassy. Okay, all right. All right, you're going to find out. You're going to find out fat meat greasy, as we say in the South. Fat meat is very greasy. And some of y'all don't think that it is. You know, your woman come home every night after work. In the last 2 months, she been having girl nights every night. She been going to the gym extra. Oh, okay. Because you goofy, or because you a lame, or because you a simp, or because, you know, she do what you want to do. Okay. All right. You got to check that shit, bro. You got to check that shit, right? Whenever you feel like something off or something ain't right, bro, it probably ain't. You know, you're probably correct in your assumption. But what you have to do is you have to make sure anytime something go off, and even when you do that, even when you check it or you call it out or you try to correct it, that don't mean that you're going to fix it. But it does mean that, you know, you may have a higher likelihood of something being, you know, resolved in a manner to where at least you called it out, at least you caught it, and at least you have the chance to try to make something better, you know. Because it may be a possibility of you saving it or improving it before it blows up if you catch it early on. But if you're naive and don't pay attention and can't peep game and don't see when something's happening live time, right, real speed, you gonna get done how you gonna get done, bro. And then you gonna be sitting back looking stupid. But all I'm saying is, when it does go bad, say you're a guy who you're not intelligent enough to realize when a job is done with you, or when a woman is tired of you, or when a friendship is no longer benefiting you, and you don't know that this situation is over, right? If you're not smart enough to pick up on it, just promise me when it blows up, when it all boils to steam, don't black out. Don't lose your mind. Don't let me see you on season 35 of Snapped. Don't let me cut on the local news. You done went up there to the job with an AK because they fired you, but you ain't know you been on thin ice for 8 months. So, that's all I got, man. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff to my YouTube channel, CJ Wilkins. And be sure to check out my podcast, the Be a Man podcast. And as always, it's your guy CJ, and I'm out. Peace.